Hey everybody, this is Ray Flick, television beat writer for Bleeding Cool. Welcome you back to our review of Freeform Siren Episode 2, The Lore. Let me start off first by thanking all you guys for coming out, taking a look at my review of the first one. This was a really unexpected surprise of a show, so I'm really sticking with it. I hope you guys stick with the reviews. I hope you like what I have to say. Also, I want to own up to something. I should have actually done this more as a 1-2 combination because, and I recommend this to Freeform too, it doesn't really work so much as episode 1, episode 2. It kind of works better as a seamless 2-hour block. So I think it would have been better if they had made the pilot a 2-hour block and then segued into interview with the Mermaid, which is going to be going on tonight. But that aside, which is nitpicking, again, I want to say right off the bat, no sophomore slump for this series. Really good follow-up. Again, thinking of it in terms of its own episode and trying to not think of it in terms of seamlessly working with the first one, which it does. I think we had good, solid, strong build-up. I thought we had deep layers to the mystery that are going on. And again, it's 2 episodes in so far. It's getting thumbs up on my 6-episode rule. So let me go into a little bit. We're going to have kind of a mix of recap and review as we go along. If you see I'm reaching for something, it's because it's my handy-dandy notepad, which I make sure we got everything covered, especially because I really, really suck when it comes to remembering names. And there's a lot of cool people in this cast, especially whether it's characters or other names otherwise, and I tend to talk more in pronouns, so I want to make sure I get this stuff right. So without further ado, our episode begins obviously with Ben stopping the fisherman from killing Rin. No surprise, he's a marine biologist. The whole thing with him and Maddie is, all life, especially new life, because of what it can bring and what it can mean, is very, very important. Now, in the process of all of this, we see this signal that's coming out, the sound of another mermaid, and Ben goes diving in, finds out one of the devices. Now, it's interesting to know if that's going to be what the full story is going to be. And this is the one thing I've really liked about the series so far is, scientific monitoring device. Is it something from the government? Is it something from the mermaids? Is it something that maybe government might be working with the mermaids? We don't know. And again, it's these little layers of mystery they keep adding in that I'm a really, really big fan of. We see in the process of all this, Rin makes it back to Bristol Cove. I will say that I think they go a little heavy-handed with the symbolism, with the shirt, with America. I will completely own up to that. And also, I think somebody needs to talk to Rin about making really good first impressions. Strong first impressions are important, but if you can make them strong, good first impressions, that's even better, because I don't think that citizen really wanted to end up with any kind of metal in her body. I'm just saying it's probably a good way to go. Rin and Helen, again, I like the Giles aspect, that Helen's playing this is kind of the town wise person and an expert, and it doesn't take long for Helen to realize that Rin is a mermaid, and the very good probability, knowing folklore and everything like that there is not just one, there is 2, and of course, perfect timing, we cue to the 2 in the military complex in typical ominous dark government conspiracy manner, that they are going to be doing experimenting, testing, and everything else that the government cruelly usually does in these types of situations. See, aren't you glad I take these notes? I like also that we essentially have Ben showing Maddie the evidence, and again, it's not like a lot of other shows where it's just so much common sense gets dictated and they still are just kind of rolling their eyes going, yeah, but. I like the scientific aspect of it, but there's also the belief aspect of it, which I'm a really big fan of. And I think that differentiates this show from a lot of other shows. That the fact of like, okay, I'm going to be skeptical, but when you start giving me stuff, I'm going to start believing it. I don't need to have things just constantly hit over my head to believe it. I also am a big fan of the Ben-Maddie dynamic, too. I like where things are with them, and I know where people are going to naturally go with the series, and I'm not even going to attempt to fight against that. But again, I like the marine biologist dynamic that they're going with. We see Ben, who ends up confronting his father to find out about the whole Pownal town history and its connection with mermaids. And of course, Dad mentioned something about how, the founder may have had some issues with schizophrenia, and maybe that affected his dreams and his visions and who he was talking to. I think we all can pretty much assume at this point that's, while he may have had some issues, mermaids kind of exist. And again, considering what Ben's already experienced at this point, I don't think Ben's really going to be going for it too much. I think if anything, I think he just kind of deepened the bigger mystery about the family and its connections to the town's mermaid history and its folklore. So yeah, I don't know if that was meant to kind of push Ben off, but it was a really, really bad job, and going forward, obviously that's just not a good enough answer. It's interesting that Ben and Maddie have a very, very, I think, important conversation. Is, why after all this time are the mermaids starting to make their way now? Food source, I think, is a really important thing. You see, in terms of environment, whenever food sources are scarce or food sources change, how creatures change their migration. We see that with deer, we see that with bears, and a lot of other creatures. And I think we're seeing that with this. And they also bring up the fact of, what impact does Bristol Cove's industrial setup have in what's transpiring. So I think we have a good, very important environmental message. But I think it's also something that's much bigger and larger than that. In my mind, I keep predicting this idea of some agreement between the mermaids and the town people, and maybe this agreement's coming up due or something. I don't know. I'm investing a lot in this, which I think gives the show a lot of credit, because I like the lot of possibilities that it can go with. We see Helen with Maddie and with Ben, and Helen typical like, oh wow, this is the wrong time for you guys to be here. So yeah, take this and can you go exit that way? While obviously Rin is hidden at Helen's place. But of course, they bring the device goes off, and in no surprise whatsoever, it just starts causing excruciating pain to Rin. And Rin, thinking it's her sister, goes to the device and is heartbroken to realize that it's not. So pained and heartbroken. And meanwhile, we see a flash of her sister also dealing with the pain and with the agony of the device going off. And it's just... It's heartbreaking. It really is. It's you can't help but feel for Rin. And I think that's something the show's done a really good job of establishing up front, is there's a purpose or reason why this is going on. They're not just wandering aimlessly. There is a purpose and a reason, and again, a lot of emotional heartbreak to it. And I think it feeds into Rin's reaction towards the end of the episode, which I'm going to get to in a second. Maddie, I love, because I think she's Scully from the X-Files, maybe coming to the revelations 6 seasons earlier than Scully did, is probably the best way to put it. And I love the way she talks about her folklore. And it's very interesting the way the, and I want to make sure I get the actress's name correct, Fola Evans-Akingbola, and if I'm mispronouncing it, I apologize. I never mean any disrespect by that. But the way she does that mix of the scientist and wanting hard facts with the constant struggle of family, lore, and belief. And again, I think that's a very important thing moving forward, because she's in a position where she's looking for facts, but presented with things in front of her own eyes to observe that go against a lot of the most basic rules of biology she's learned and preached and preached to others and grown up with. So I think Maddie especially is a character that I really want to watch grow as this season goes along. We then have a scene between Ben and Xander, and I want to apologize greatly. I cannot believe I left off the Xander reference for the first episode and the pilot and the review with the Buffy. It was like there, and I missed it. So wholehearted apologies to both Siren fans, Buffy fans, and I'm hoping probably most likely a good crossover of the two. So I should have absolutely caught that. So there's a little conversation, a little owning up, some owning up to things that were stolen. Fists are thrown, typical bar situation, but everything gets settled in the end except for one thing. Rin, who in all of this, you gotta admit, she's kind of earned the right to be a little skeptical of all the things that she's seeing going on around her, because it's either people are just trying to not help her or seem to be hindering her. So her view on humanity isn't too strong at this point, and she's kind of earned that. Also, there's this thing with the whole ritualistic knife she has, and let's not forget, we also got bodies that are starting to appear all around the area, as we saw earlier and we see towards the end of the episode. So at the end of the lore, we're left with Rin skeptical of her quote-unquote allies. We've got government stuff doing nasty, nasty government stuff, and we just know that we've got a building nasty confrontation that I know is going to culminate in some kind of water area filled with mermaids on the attack scene, more like a season finale. I could almost see it. I think all of us could see it at this point. So again, I just want to say, very strong episode. I would recommend watching it in a combination of 1-2. I wish I had done that, but that's my fault. That's not a reflection on the show. Again, I would say, I think last week I gave it 7.5, so I would say I would give it a 7.5. Again, two-parter, really good, strong start. Really looking forward to tonight's episode, or if it's not tonight and you're watching another time, Thursday night's episode, which is a third episode, Interview with the Mermaid, which we're also going to have the review up tomorrow on Friday, try to get up within 24 hours. But thank you guys. Couple quick notes again. Thank you for your support. Hope you guys are checking this out. Hope you love it. For those of you who've commented and messaged, I'm sorry you're going to have to put up with this for probably, I think, 2 more Siren reviews. But this weekend I'm going to get a little manscaping done to get this stuff cleaned up. I know I'm in Brooklyn hipster lumberjack mode, but my apologies. But we'll get this project underway. But my name is Ray Fluck, television beat writer for Bleeding Cool. Thank you for joining me for this review of Freeform's Siren, Episode 2, The Lore. Hope you guys enjoy Thursday night's episode, and make sure to check out all the wonderful pop culture coverage, including C2E2 coverage on bleedingcool.com.